I'm Nephi Zufeld, the author of Katie Bell and the Wishing Well, A Story of Finding True Wealth. And I'm so excited that you're here looking at this book today. I am the father of 5 young, rambunctious, crazy kids from the age of 11 down to a year and a half. And we have so much fun in our family. Our family is one of the most important things for us. My background is in engineering and medical devices, and I've been an executive in that space for a long time and continue to work in that space. And it's interesting, as we started to homeschool our kids, we talked about wanting to give them information and teach them things that are important to them, that's going to help them in their lives. And one of the key things that I wanted to teach about and wanted to help them with was teaching them about money, about finance, and about, really started out thinking it was just the basics. And as I started getting into it, I realized that it's not just the basics I want to teach my kids. It's really the mentality, it's the principles, it's the underlying information that's not related to bank accounts and checking accounts, but it's the information about abundance, about value creation, about multiple streams of income, how to think about wealth, how to put it into a perspective, how to be wealthy without being focused on money, but also having good relationships and health. And all of these things, and as I was thinking about that, I was looking for curriculum, and I found some things out there. I found books that were colorful and great and full of illustrations and teaching kids how to start businesses and do other things. And they were really good for the niche that they were in, but they really didn't teach the mentality. They didn't teach kids how to think about money. They didn't teach them principles that would help them regardless of what was happening in their lives. And so as I started to think about that, I started to write. I started to create curriculum. And my wife was like, hey, that's pretty good. Maybe you should start putting that together and teach the kids. And so we started this little class, and it progressed over time. And finally it was like, it started to become a story, and it started to become a book. And that's how this book was born. Katie Bell and the Wishing Well was the brainchild of trying to help my kids understand these concepts. And really the reason I put it in a story format, it's not just some step-by-step guide, was because I personally and my kids, they learn things better through stories. They learn things better through examples. And so I filled this book with a story of a young girl who is going through the ups and downs of life and makes some bad choices along the way. And as she's kind of falling off the cliff in certain ways, she's rescued by this grandfather that comes in and teaches her concepts, principles of a wealth mentality, and not just related to money, but teaches her how to have better relationships, how to get along with her parents and her friends and her siblings, which was really important in my family. And goes in and talks about health and how you can have a health mentality and how you can have personal well-being in your life. And then of course talks about money and riches and wealth and how it all fits together. And I want this to be really, really clear. The purpose is not to teach your kid exactly what they should do in their life. The purpose of Katie Bell and the Wishing Well is to give your kids, and perhaps you, a foundation, a place to build off, a foundation of a wealth mentality, to understand the guiding principles, the things that can actually take you to wealth. It's not going to tell you do this, do this, do this, and you're going to be wealthy. What it's going to tell you is, if you have this mentality and you follow these principles and they apply them in your life and you work hard, then you have the opportunity to have success. You have the opportunity to live the life that you want to live, to be happy, to be fulfilled. Maybe that includes money and maybe it doesn't. It doesn't really matter, because the wealth mentality principles apply to all of those things. If you're coming here for a step-by-step guide of exactly how to make your kids rich, you're in the wrong place. Because this is a place where we teach principles. This is a place where we teach things that regardless of what jobs look like in the future, because we know, right? We hear about the robots and the AI taking over. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen now or in the future, if it ever is going to happen. But if it happens, it's going to fundamentally change our economy again, because it continues to change. It's not the time of industrialization anymore. It's not the information age anymore. It's really advancing, and it's continuing to advance. We are in an era of e-commerce, and wealth mentality principles apply to e-commerce. They apply to the industrial aspect. If you want to be a manufacturer, they apply to everything. And as things change in the future, as robots take over and the world changes, these principles will still be true, because they are principles of wealth. They teach kids how to recognize abundance, how to create value, how to create multiple streams of income, how to have a holistic approach to their wealth mentality, how to make sure that money doesn't become more important than relationships, that money doesn't become more important than health, that they are taking care to serve others and they put others first. The whole idea of value is based on the fact that you have to put others first. You have to create something for someone else. You don't get value yourself until you do something for someone else. All of those principles are taught in the pages of Katie Bell. And I am just so excited that you're going to be looking at this with your family, that you can have an opportunity to let them read it, read the stories, understand these principles. And here's what's really cool. You're also going to get a chance. They're going to come to you with questions. They're going to want to talk to you about this. They're going to want to understand more about it and how they can implement these things. It's going to open up conversations with your family, open up conversations with your kids. And maybe for a few seconds, they may even put down their remote control. They might put down their Fortnite game. They might turn off their screens for a little bit. They might sit down with you at the table and say, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, hey, Grandma, Grandpa, what does it mean when he's talking in here about multiple streams of income? What does it mean when Katie Bell learns about value creation? How can I create value? And those conversations are going to be an amazing gift to you and your family because they'll help you build that relationship with your kids and with each other. And who knows, it could turn into something where your kids decide, hey, I really want to start a business. I want to do, I want to do this, I want to do that. They want to start creating value right now. And if that happens, who knows what's going to happen? There are so many people out there right now. We hear stories all the time of kids quite young having an idea and putting it into action. And there are many of these kids that are millionaires. But the highest paid person in YouTube this year is a 7-year-old kid. There's a wonderful young man who sells little bow ties, Moe's Bows. He sells bow ties to people. He started that as like a 7 or 8-year-old kid, and he's grown that into something that's meaningful now. There are those stories happening all the time. And there's no reason that can't be your family. There's no reason that can't be your kids. And there's no reason you can't be there helping them along the way, building that relationship. All of those things and more are talked about in this book, Katie Bell and the Wishing Well. We hope that you're going to love it. We hope that you'll digest it. We hope it opens up conversations. And if it does, if it helps even just one of you, it's going to be worth it for me. Because honestly, the reason I wrote the book was for my family. And it's helping my family. And so I've already fulfilled my purpose. I'm already happy about the results. If it helps your family too, it's going to be even greater. It's icing on the cake for me. It's gravy. And so I just hope that you will get into this, you'll purchase it, you'll buy it, buy some for your friends and for your family, get it out there. You're not going to find it anywhere else. You're not going to find this information taught in this way, in this type of a format, anywhere else out there. You might find some business books, you might find some entrepreneurship books, you might even find a few things for adults about wealth mentality, but you're not going to find it taught in this way in a story format using illustrations and examples that your kids are going to understand.
Wealth can be for everyone, but wealth isn't necessarily about riches, sure, but it can be part of wealth. But it's not only that. For example, if you're rich and have a lot of money, but you don't have time to spend with your family, you're not very wealthy. Or if you have tons of money but you have bad health because you neglected it for so long,